There's bitter days ahead. Death and terror. The dark man grows stronger every day.
A divided country, a grab for power, a worldwide pandemic. Is The Stand the most 2020 show ever?
Well said. Well said. Yeah, but 2020 is not over yet. And I put nothing past 2020. We'll see. We'll see how much weirder it's going to get.
I don't think any of us really set out to kind of do that. We sure didn't know that this was going to happen. I mean, somehow the stars have aligned in everybody's disfavor, but our favor.
If 2020 went 100 times worse.
In a fictional story, with a Stephen King touch to it. So it's tough to draw parallels, but, you can't help but think, hey, it's a pandemic show and we're living through a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really eerie. I was shooting a scene in The Stand where I was, on like March 1st or 2nd, where I was burning toilet paper and throwing it through the jail cell. And then I was going home and reading on the news that it was the exact thing that prisoners in Italy were doing that night or something. So it's been really, really strange and eerie, the progression of it. Like, we finished shooting, then I went right into lockdown.
It's obviously been surreal for all of us. We've mostly been cutting the show during the actual pandemic. I mean, we had the just ridiculous good fortune to have our last day of production in Vancouver be March 11th, or, we wrapped at daybreak on March 12th. That was just how it shook out. And look, if that gives it resonance, then so be it. For us, I know it's true for Taylor too. The Stand is not really fundamentally a book about a pandemic. For me and Taylor, the story of the book really doesn't exactly get going until the Captain Trips has kind of passed. Now the world is empty, our survivors are here, and they're going to start to coalesce around the two poles of Flag and Mother Abigail, and then those two sides are going to come together for this ultimate confrontation. And that, to us, is what the book is.
So yes, the most 2020 book ever. Yeah. Definitely.
She brought us all together to keep us safe in these uncertain times.
But this is a 40-year-old story, and, it still is hitting all of these interesting notes. Why do you think it endures the way that it does?
Stephen King was onto something back in 1978, wasn't he? It's tough to ignore the parallels, for sure. That's what he's good at. Timeless themes and problems and evolutions and predicaments, and you're seeing a lot of that kind of come to the screen in The Stand, for sure.
It's a very, very long book, and it's great. I read it in high school and stayed with me my whole life. It deals with a lot of big, important themes. Is it any wonder that it's kind of stood the test of time? I would say it's quite a wonder that it's paralleling our lives quite as closely as it is these days, but so be it.
I think what's brilliant about it is the fact that Stephen King created characters that we can all relate to as an audience. I think there's so many people in this story, and they all have their own special backgrounds and life journeys and everything. And I think it's interesting for people to kind of get to see somebody that they might relate to and say, oh, well, if I was in that position, maybe I would have done that too, or I would have done this differently, because that's kind of like my personality or what have you. So I think it's an opportunity for people to be able to look inward while they're enjoying the show.
I think it's what we all need at this point in our world, because ultimately, beyond being about the disease and about the world kind of ending as we know it in this story, it's about the people that are left and about the humans that try and rebuild and how they go about doing that, and sort of what forces draw people in, and these true colors that bubble to the surface.
Our time has begun!